hanging out with me last night. I had a good time with you last night, and they were we did 5 hours and 45 minutes, I think, last night. Uh, those that go back and view, we had a good time. We didn't some of it, and I got it marked as unlisted due to the fact that I got it marked as unlisted due to the fact that uh, the music was playing. I wasn't thinking, I be having them nips, man. Forgetting about that copyright, and I took that copyright out. I mean, the copyright was on there. You know what I mean? So it didn't give no. Some of it might come up. Some of it might come up. What's it called? Sitting in my bed, my leg is feel a little better. I'm gonna go for my morning walk here in a little bit, and I just wanted to sit here with you and chat a little bit. I'm just getting myself, all the way awoke. I'm just not getting myself all the way awoke. So just sitting there sipping on me some coffee, and just doing that. You know what I mean? So I'm appreciating you that hung out with me last night and got to hear me talking. And we didn't. We had a good. It was a good evening. We didn't really get. We didn't have no no issues with the thing. For a minute there, I had my Bluetooth. That Bluetooth was on, everything like that. But the word of today is perseverance, and to make it a better word, we're going to make that word transform into what we want you to know today is persistent. And no matter what it is that you're dealing with, no matter what it is, your circumstance, stick with the process. Don't shortcut. We're not going to do no microwave today. Somebody asked me for some advice last night. I apologize. I had uh, was so into the music, I didn't want to take a bird. You got to use wisdom. I had a couple of cocktails and I didn't want to be on there saying something I didn't. But I want to thank those that stayed with me last night. We had a good time. We listened to some music. I was able to cut me a couple of dances, the best I could because, my knees still kind of messed up. And I'm grateful for that. I got some good sleep and woke up, my mind still clear. Hey, listen, I'm finally over Friday 13th. Friday 13th, probably had to let them go. Let them know on that Friday 13th that never happen again. I never go outside on Friday 13th. So just wanted to let you know I appreciate what you did last night. That really touched me. Uh, and then I gave you a little bit of inspiration this morning. Via inspirational music. I think I rocked that with you, Chill. A couple hours, and I tried to pause and give a few words of inspiration. But like I say, I'm not a blogger, so I don't know how these rules work when you're playing the music. This is one young lady I follow, pretty young lady too. I don't know where she's from. She's a doctor somewhere, and she does a lot of music and be dancing and playing a lot of old school. As a matter of fact, she was playing some Phyllis Hyman the other day, and she does. I'll be trying to do it like that, where the music is at the bottom. I got a premium account, a YouTube. I got the YouTube thing. I pay my monthly subscription. I had the studio, the what's it called, and I don't know how to do that. So I just, that's why I do the shorts the way I do them. Take some pictures, change the outfits and different things like that, and put the music on because I don't know how to do it where I can actually be on my live and be playing my music without, the copyright thing. I woke up and I had that big caution mark. And I told somebody last night, I said, I don't know why I'm doing this. I said, but I bet you I'm gonna have. So if you got certain artists playing, I'm taking it that certain areas you can't let you, play the music. So I didn't know if it did or not. You know what I mean? So I wanted to have me a cup of coffee real quick, and then while I'm talking to you, my coffee gone. I'm gonna go ahead and go for my morning walk, and I gotta work this leg out, man. This leg really wears me the hell out. You don't want to be overdoing it, but you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? You need to sitting still. You can't make an appeal standing still. You got to move. You got to make moves. You got to navigate. You know what I mean? You don't digress. You make progress. You know what I mean? 'Cause you don't digress. You know what I mean? You got to keep pressing forward, and you got to keep moving. You got to keep pursuing. You know what I mean? You got to get what's yours. You can't take what don't belong to you. You got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Keep it on the up and up. Keep your head above water. Even though you think you might be going under, sink or swim, you got to keep on moving. Soul to soul, say keep on moving, don't stop. The problem is a lot of us moving, but we moving in place. You know what I mean? And yeah, you moving, but you're not going nowhere. I can march all day. You know what I mean? I can perform to you all day. I can give you a whole bunch of information. But if I don't have the dedication, to be the example, not the sample, then it ain't gonna work out. We hear a lot of these songs on this day. Things will work out, and we think things will work out by sitting there waiting. I'm gonna use an analogy, and I'll let you go. G. Patterson preached a message once. He used one of his ministers as an example. His minister worked in the restaurants, as I did, and but his minister worked in full service. He was a waiter, and he said when you go into a restaurant. He said, you go into a restaurant, he said, when you go to the server, you don't expect the waiter to stand there, right? You expect the waiter to not only wait on you, but serve you. So if you in a position that you are a vocal piece for your community, and you seeking unity, then you can't serve and wait. You know what I mean? We get those two words together. We think, we hear the little cliche scriptures, they didn't wait on the Lord. And we be sitting back, twiddling our thumbs, just waiting for a big cloud of thunder to come up from the sky. Now, you have to have, you got to have the want to do, and then you got to have the mindset to want to learn how to do. Remember, I told you, when you know better, you do better. And that's why I always say, if society accepts it, wants us to accept the norm, and the norm is sit back, wait with your hand out. And we treat the good Lord like a thrift store, and we assume that when he say wait, then that means sit still. No, while you're waiting, serve. And don't serve to be seen, just be seen serving. You hear me? I'm just trying to help you, It's coffee today. I ain't drinking today. Pray for me today if you can. But try to keep a, good, with the help of the good Lord, keep a good vibe all day. Say tomorrow my grandmother's birthday, my baby brother's birthday, March, February, October, and July is a real bad month for me, emotionally. It really is. And sometimes it seems like it has me in a lockhold. I'm a real emotional person anyway, but it seems like it had me in an emotional lockhold sometimes. And sometimes I don't understand. I say my mind don't never quit working. So it's like my mind is always moving. And I'll be trying to put the brakes on my brain, and it don't work. So I'd be sitting there just talking to God, you got to help me, because my mind sometimes be so consumed with different things. I really, try to keep this channel in a positive vein, yet, keep, doing what I'm doing to kind of enlighten people. But, when your mind be working like that, it's like my mind be like I was telling people last night, my mind would be moving like a gerbil in a wheel. It just be moving and moving and moving. And if I do get a break from the wheel, then my mind would get like a quick breath refreshment. And the next thing you know, my mind racing again. My body be exhausted. It seems like my body be dependent on my mind to get stuff done. But the mind only tell the body what to do. But if the body is tired, the body ain't gonna want to move. So I'll be just trying to stay consistent on that piece, but as I was saying, G told the man, he said, when I come to the restaurant, I expect you to wait on me, but it's all in the wording. So when they were waiting, he said he expected him to wait, take his order, and then come back and serve him with a tray. You know what I mean? And that's what we got to do to the man upstairs. We got to serve him, you know, and that way other people can see that light. And I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about morality. The moral things to do. We forget about the moral things. We always attach something to religion, and it's not always about religion. You got to make your own decision because what happens is we put everything on church where everybody don't go to church. You know what I mean? And people ain't going to church because it is what it is. I just wanted you to get that and everything like that, and hoping that uh, you can take the words from the mouth of Donny Hathaway. He said someday we'll all be free. So just keep me in mind today. I won't go for a walk today and try to keep my mind busy. I'm probably gonna sleep a lot today too. I was up on that live last night for almost 6 hours. And sometimes I jump outside the box, and you never know what you're really gonna expect from the channel anyway. But these last 2 days has really been a real good encouragement. We picked up some more subscribers. I thank you. Caprello, I think Caprello last night asked me for some advice, and all I can say is, continue to be persistent, continue to pursue, chase after your purpose, rest in your destiny, because when you allow people to distract you, that's no one's fault but your own. You got to be like, down in the South, they had them mules down there working in the yard in the field. I don't know the technical name for them, but they put those blinders on both sides. They're in there for a reason. And they put a little carrot in front of it, give them a little incentive to get the work done. You'll get this carrot, and that's how we got to discipline ourselves. We got to block out all distractions. Put your blinders on, left and to the right. Don't look to the left or the right. Just look ahead. Because if you remember when the good book talked about that man that jumped out that boat, as long as he kept his eye on the prize, he didn't sink. Mm-hmm. The problem is we take our eye off the prize. And once you take your eye off the prize, you're gonna sink. Let me tell you a song used to sing it when I was a kid. There's a song Saints used to sing when I was a kid. Caprello, what's up, baby? I was just talking about you, man. I apologize. I didn't get that advice to you last night. I didn't get off live last night till 5:45 this morning. I wanted to sleep in. I just got up and got dressed. I wanted to kind of talk to y'all a little bit and give y'all a little power play this morning. Give you some good sound information, and then I got to hop up here and go for a walk. My leg, I think I've been overdoing it. My leg is just out of it, but I got to go for my morning walk this morning. I'm sipping on some coffee. I wanted to catch you up. Thank you all, especially you, Caprello. You hung in with me last night as long as you could. I appreciate that. I had somebody come in from Canada last night and sit with me till about 5:40. Listen to a little music, and I stop and give a little bit of advice and different things like that. But what we're talking about, being persistent. You got to be persistent. And you got to have a dream for your team, and sometimes that team is just you. And I mean, I try to be the best American I can be. And I know I'm not the best. I appreciate that compliment. Uh, I'm just a work in progress, man. And I'm just grateful. People take time out of their schedule to come on here and hear me out. I'm grateful for that. But the thing about it is that adversity brings strength. You know what I mean? And let me add this too. Not only adversity, but diversity. We have to have an open mind, and not only have an open mind, but sometimes, I joke all the time about Roger Troutman. He used to say, rewind the tape. Uh, and this may be somewhat of a contradictory statement, but it's going to make sense to you in the wash. We have adversity, we have problems, trials, tests, you know, uh, hindrances. You know, Don M. Clark used to say we fall down, but we get back up. And but check this out. This the thing about it. The adversity creates diversity. You say, why you say that? Well, remember we was talking Friday about ideology. That is the what. And then we were talking about psychology. That is the why. So you have first an idea that starts where? In your head. Right? But psychology is also in your head. So you got to battle with titans in your mind. That's why, in Vogue, you say free your mind. You got to have your mind together, because when I was a kid, they have an egg in a frying pan. The egg is frying. They say drugs. And the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And then your mind is, because when your mind is idle, you don't have nothing to think about but depression, negative, bills, pressure, relationship problem, all that adversity, all that problems, all that static in your head. And then you run across strangers that are angels unaware. And those angels can assist you in the midst of your adversity and cause you to have some diversity in your thinking, in your communication, in your walk of life. We got to be diverse. We got to be versatile. We got to be to the point to where it's not, it should never be about us anyway, unless we are rebuilding, and going through the journey of our rebirthing process. And sometimes rebirthing, happens a lot more than once. You know what I mean? I tell you all the time, I'm almost 60. You know how many times I had to reinvent myself? Do you know how many times I had to take the clay that was being molded by the potter, and I had to smash that clay. I didn't throw it away. I just smashed it down, add some more water to it, put my hands back in there, and start remolding again. And that's what makes us better, because what happens is we get in adversity and we give up. And it's all design. You know what? The 18. Hannibal said, I love when a plan comes together. And you know what's so crazy is? That's the problem with life. Watch this. The problem with life is we don't never have a plan, and then we try to change his plan, and then we mess up. They used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just relax and let it float. You know what I'm saying? Remember I told you about 48 days ago, I told you, I said, no weapon. I mean, I was just pouring with tears too. I said, no weapon. It's not that the weapon wasn't going to be formed against you. It's not going to prosper. Everybody wasn't born with a silver spoon. So instead of us criticizing, use a spoon that was issued to you. Your spoon might be a damn wood. It might be plastic. It might be chopsticks. But you got to use what you got. Work with it. Be faithful over a few things. He'll make you rule over many. He will. I told you about 40 some days ago, I told you. My grandma used to tell me all the time, bless her heart, her birthday tomorrow. I miss her so much. And my grandma used to tell me, say, Dee Dee, you're gonna have a lot of struggle in your life. She said, you're not gonna really be able to enjoy life until you get a certain age. And she was referring to this stage of age in life that I'm in now. You know what I mean? I spent a lot of my youth off the chain. And I'm glad I woke up before my youthfulness was over, because, a lot of us wait until we almost 100 and want to get a man upstairs or whoever you believe in sloppy seconds. You know what I mean? and it's not fair to him. And yeah, well, let me tell you something. Uh, I believe that, uh, but you know what the real penal system is? We keep ourselves in bondage because we don't want no light. And those that don't really want the light, whether it's by mistake or whether on purpose, guess what happens? They put you behind a real prison, you know, symbolic of darkness, bondage, confinement. But before we get there, you got to free your mind. And I believe that there's a lot of intelligent people in there. There's a lot of people that have made some mistake that probably shouldn't even be in prison. But the system has taught us if I can't get this one, I'm going to get the one that's more vulnerable that don't really know. And then when you don't know, that's when you get victimized. So you get people that come on and give you information. Watch this. I'm going to help you. So you get a guy, you know, like I said, I've been here over a century, over half a century, plus some. So that puts me at golden jubilee status, right? Uh, and then we all got DNA, we all got personalities. Sometimes that energy is directed in a different direction, not necessarily because it's intentional, but sometimes we deal with things based off regret of what we didn't do. And that's why I always tell people, don't cry over spoiled milk. You make a mistake, don't let people beat you up about it. Don't even beat yourself up about it. You know what I mean? You got to get up and keep moving. You know, you got to listen, and you got to, your mind should be a sponge, but your heart should be a sifter. Your heart and brain should be a sponge, but your heart should be a sifter. Your brain should and your mind should absorb good, positive information, and then as it filters through your system, then you filter out what's not for you and what is for you. It's almost like baking bread. My birth mother, excellent biscuit maker. She taught me how to make biscuits. I can make homemade biscuits. My grandmother and my grandmother and my aunt make homemade rolls. Homemade. I can't make rolls, but I can make biscuits. Cloud biscuits to be exact. And I used to watch them sift. You just sifter back in the day. They had either the ones that look like a cup and you squeeze and the flour come through, or they had the one in your hand, right? My mom and my aunts, I would watch them. Sometimes they'd be baking around, the holidays and different things like that, or just on my birth mom would just bake biscuits just out of the blue. And biscuits be about that damn big. You start kneading that dough, and you sprinkle the flour on it, and then you take it and you got the bowl, you dip your hand in the flour, you got the sifter, and you sifting because you're getting all them chunks and stuff that don't belong in the biscuit, and it remains in the sifter. Because what's in the sifter that come out, that's what's meant for you. Anything that remains in the sifter is not for you. That's why I tell people about this channel all the time. I get hecklers, I get people that don't quite understand because I go flip mode so many times. I could be talking about one thing and then it's different subject matter that I talk about. But what people don't understand, society has taught us to criticize it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Alexander O'Neal came out with a song back in the 80s called Criticize. You know what I mean? Don't criticize my nature. Don't criticize my ideas. What you see is what you get. But what happens is we get so caught up in antics that we forget. Unless we forget that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And we're in the moment, no longer the hour. We are literally in the moment of chaos in this today's society because people don't want to learn. And if you're not willing to learn, you sure enough can't lead. If you're too good to serve, you're not qualified to lead. And if you want to rebirth, and if you want to grow, if you want to advance, if you want to go to the next level, then sometimes you got to go through a rebirthing process over and over and over again. Uh, it's not like school where you take so many tests and you take so many quizzes and you take the test, you just get an F and you're done. The man upstairs give you many, 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 many chances. You know, the government will tell you three strikes you out, you gone for life. A lot of us been fucking up all of our lives, because the Lord still give us opportunity to bounce back and do better. When you know better, you do better. Some don't learn that lesson, some do. Uh, some, they learn a lesson and they walk away like they got all the lesson, and you don't have all the lesson because life is a process. Life is nothing more than an illustrated book along with a blueprint that gives us direction on how to get through our journey, whatever that journey is. You don't have to believe it, but it's factual, you know. So I'm glad, man, for another opportunity to talk to you. My coffee's almost gone. Give me a few more minutes, and I can get you up out of here. I just wanted to talk to you, and I slept in and got me some decent sleep, and mind racing. I got some good stuff I want to talk to you about later this afternoon, but me, I get to talking and I lose track of time, and I'll go ahead. But persistence uh, is what's needed. You got to be persistent. You know what I mean? Run your race. Stay on your journey. Just do it with patience. And you can be persistent and be patient at the same time. Persistence, you're just consistently reminding yourself and others of that what you're trying to do. Stay positive. What they used to say when we was growing up, say, don't do nothing I wouldn't do. Just do the right thing. There's no right way to do the wrong thing. It ain't. Uh, and then another thing I want to help you with, misery love company. A person see you achieving goals, obtainable goals. Don't be ridiculous. Your goals got to be obtainable. Goals that you know without a shadow of a doubt that you can reach short term and long term. And when you make those goals, you have to have discipline, to prepare yourself with the results of that which you're trying to obtain. If you shortcut, you're going to get a shortcut situation. Why you think microwave food and home cooked food is not the same? You know what I mean? And I'm just excited about that. Excited about that. And seasoned people that come in my channel from time to time, take a day and really put a couple prayers up for these YNs today. I had a real weird dream. I was sleeping. And there's some subject matter I want to talk about this week. And I would really like some of these young men to come in on the live. I really got a burden for these young men. Some of them don't have no direction. You know what I mean? And all of them don't come from single families. Some of these young men got men in the home and the men ain't doing nothing to instruct these young men. They got uncles, cousins, brothers, and ain't not one of them get them no positive reinforcement. They want them to be crash out dummies, set them up, send them to prison while they out here enjoying freedom. The YNs is in there crashing out. Then when they get out, they're not rehabilitated because they do more crime in there. Then when they get out, they brag about it and go on social media and brag about what they did. I got two young men right now. I can almost promise you, I'm not even going to put it into existence by saying their name, but you got two young men rappers from the South region of the country that have been in jail and come out and brag about the crimes they was doing in prison. And the statue ain't even up yet. So guess what's gonna happen? When this stuff start getting real deep in the politics, all these young men is coming out with these new CDs and stuff like that. Why do you think AI is taking over? AI is going to take over the music because the goal of the government is to lock all the YNs up that's doing this music, lock them up. Guess what? That's going to cut off their money. The record label's going to make the money. And the people that were surrounding them that didn't go to jail are going to get all the money. And you're going to be in there, no meat box. You're going to have to be forced to do crime behind the wall because guess what? You talk too much. Remember I told you when I was out in the streets committing crimes, that's why I never went to prison. I didn't hang with people. I didn't go out and commit crimes with people. I got caught one time messing with a guy I grew up with out in Poindexter Village when I first came back to Columbus in 1990. I got arrested. That young man to this day has never done time for that. That was on my record. And that young man has had a destructive life. See what I mean? But that's the street game. You know what I mean? It's cool to backdoor your friends and everything like that. And then, and we grew up together. Kids. They're the ones that backdoor you. Your homies, the sandbox buddies. You know what I mean? The ones that have been running with you in them yellow lines and out in the street. Them. So I tell people all the time, your best bet is stay on the sidewalk. Get out the street, get back on the sidewalk, get back on the porch. You know what I mean? Because these folks don't mean good. You'd be surprised how many times I have gangsters come in here on my channel telling me I need to watch my mouth, and they popping off they sets and all this kind of crazy stuff, and they think I'm supposed to be quiet because they said so. No, I'm putting positive information out here, giving knowledge. Don't worry about the method in which I give it to you. It's good information. You know what I mean? When you're a civilian, ain't no such thing as snitching. The snitching piece come in for the street folk. Right? They don't want you to tell, but behind the scene, they're telling on you. Ask BG. You know what I mean? I guess I got a few more minutes to talk. Ask BG down in Louisiana. His experience with that dude with all them tattoos and all that. Ask him about that. Why did Master P go a different direction? They from the same region. And yeah, he might have had some, stuff surrounding him, but he started from the bottom. He put his hustle in so he could win. And I've heard some stories about Master P, Percy, but I ain't never heard nothing to the extreme to where, he was backdooring and cutting folks' throat. But he was surrounded by what? People that were entitled. They think as you making it, they got the same opportunity you do, but they don't want to make it. They want to ride on your dream. And they'll ride with you till your car starts sputtering. Some won't even do it then, because I know some cars that can ride on fumes. But when the cars stop, everybody jump out. They got another ride around the corner waiting. They're going to leave you there stranded. That's just life. That's the way it works. You can't get mad about it. I spent 30, 40 years of my life being resentful toward folk, going out my way trying to be nice, knowing all along they didn't give a happy about me, but I'm still out there looking for acceptance when all they was trying to do was destroy me. You got to have discernment. You got to know without a shadow of a doubt that the people that are surrounding you or in your company are there for the long haul. You know what I mean? Whether it's your homie, your lover, your friend, you know what I mean? You need people in your corner that's going to give you positive reinforcement, not incite you to crash out. You know what I mean? That's why I get real strong with these cats, especially coming from other states talking crazy, and they ain't doing nothing in their own communities. You know what I mean? Sometimes your voice is what make a difference. And you got to take the choice and use your voice and speak the hell up and let people know, hey, I know what I did before, but let me be an example to you and show you that this is the way it's supposed to be done. Remember, I told you, you got to start, your first work's at home. You got to get your home base straight. You know what I mean? That's why I'll be lashing out at these civil rights leaders and different things because they give us an image that they're doing all this. We shall overcome and we shall walk on hand in hand. And the whole time behind the scene, they selling dope, they cheating on their wives. You know, you shouldn't be a civil. And everybody make mistakes, but you can't tell me that you're a leader and you doing what you telling me not to do, but you doing it behind the scene. And then when you die, that's when all your dirt come out. Martin. You know what I mean? And then what's so crazy is the people that's doing the negative stuff, all of them are clicked up with people that have the same ideology. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't worry about my shiny robe. Don't worry about my bow tie. Don't worry about the bean pies I'm selling in the barbershop. Don't worry about the fish dinners I'm giving you. You know, don't worry about, I got, I'm doing secretary work and this and that, but behind the scene, I'm a 304. But I got this image in the public that I'm doing all this. That's not good leadership because you're not doing nothing but hurting yourself. And the plan that you think is going to work for you is going to backfire because guess what? You are planting seeds, basically a discord, in the community. And then what you got? You got a whole bunch of folks arguing and fussing about stuff, praying, rolling around on the floor, praying for answers and praying for problems when they already know the answer to the problem. We know we got corruption. We know we got crooks. We know we got people essaying people. We know we got drugs and stuff and going on in the prisons. We know we got kids sleeping with kids, 13, 14, having babies. Why? Because like I told you, few weeks ago, few days ago, you got grandmas now, 34, 35 years old. Bernie Mac told you that long before I even said this. You got grandmas now that's younger than my kids. You got 13-year-olds having babies. You walk around, look at some of these girls walking around, and you thinking these grown-ass women, they ain't grown, but they look like it. They feeding them all kind of weird stuff. These girls walk around here, 12, 13, these dirty old men, and some of the preachers and counselors, teachers in school, cousins, friends, sleep with these girls, ruin their life, then they become toxic, and then we got a whole nation full of toxic, resentful, hateful women, setting people up to kill them, doing all this crazy stuff because we ain't got no example. I told you, if you can't trust the government, if you can't trust your church, if you can't trust your teachers, if you can't trust your mammies, your daddies, your brothers and your sisters, who can you trust? God. It's on our money, but the nation don't trust them. You hearing me? Any money you see in the United States got in God we trust. All kind of symbols and symbolic things about it. You look at the dollar, you got Masonic stuff. You look at the nickel, you got this stuff. You look at the quarter, the 50-cent piece, you got this. You got the penny, you got this. All this in God we trust. When we was in school, when I was in school, we pledged allegiance to the flag. Some schools, a Christian flag too. You go to school now, you won't even see a flag. So, I'm not confused or bewildered. I know what's going on. Systematic torture. I keep telling y'all that. It's what they want you to do. When the government get themselves in the clusterfuck, they take it out on the people. When they get caught up in shit, then they go in revenge mode. And everybody they had cases on, and everybody they want to pick cases on, they're going to bury them. Think about it. Think about now I'm gonna keep it really real with you. Watch this. Now, I'm Republican, and everybody know the Republican Party right now is in disarray because of corruption and bullshit. Democrats too, both of them fucked up. But watch this. The last three House speakers that the Republicans have all got caught in corruption. The young one, the last one we had, Ron, not the last one, but the last one before that, I think he was under Bush. That House Speaker got caught up with some sex scandal. The old man that was always talking crazy used to be the majority leader. You just always talk crazy about Trump. You kiss up to Trump. Then you find out a lot of these guys, these senators and stuff that's in the Republican Party, and there's a difference between Republican and MAGA. Understand that. There's a difference. And both of them's fucked up. But all these guys are so superior and do all this stuff, all of them hands is dirty. And it took Trump to go out and do something drastic for these seasoned politicians, some of them, to walk away from this man. But this is the example that we have here in the world. They talked about Jimmy Carter because Jimmy Carter wasn't a politician. He was a peanut guy. And, he was too timid, they say. And he only did one term. They talked about what they call that, Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall, I was told that he started out Republican. I don't know if he ended out Republican or not, but I dare say he was. He might have been Democrat. I don't know. All I know, he was a black man, got on Supreme Court. Who follows him? Clarence Thomas. You know what I mean? Clarence Thomas did everything he could do to stop everything from black folks. See, we make history. We rub elbows with some of these people in politics and government, and then we rather be out here killing each other in the community instead of holding that old man responsible for all the money he done stole and all the black people that he done misrepresented. You see what I mean? But we all say one nation under God, indivisible. Liberty and justice for all. Where's the justice? Red or yellow, black or white, where is the justice? There's just a big case down here in Kentucky where the sheriff went in and killed the judge in the chambers because the judge was running a sex ring. And this is a border state between Ohio and Kentucky. And this was just a couple of years ago, and the trial is still going on. The sheriff goes in and kills the judge because the sheriff's daughter had some issues going on. She had a drug problem. She doing drugs. She was a minor. This happened until she got older, and they had a whole separate jail where all the deputies would sleep with these young women and stuff right there inside the jail. And the sheriff gets killed. The sheriff kills the judge, and now the sheriff might be going to jail for murder or facing the death penalty because of what he did. And the whole time, the sheriff is running a whole sex operating thing right there in the Kentucky area. So, be careful. When people that got drug habits and, you deal with certain people, man, and people be setting you up. And once they use you up, it's just, don't look back. And you reap what you sow. I'll end with this. I had a person, I'm not going to mention the name, but if you're familiar with the story, you'll know what I'm talking about. I had a person that used to say some real crazy, reckless stuff to me when I was, married to my first wife. Just say some real reckless, racist, out the way stuff. And I always told that person, I said, I don't really go out my way to bother people. I said, but one thing about it, reap what you sow. And the thing about it is that they found this person's child 15 years later chopped up in pieces out in the river. The girl ended up growing up, becoming older, got strung out on drugs, robbing drug dealers, and they found her ass and chopped that girl up. Now she gone. Her baby sister's out here now on OnlyFans all over the place, strung out on drugs. Her mom is dead, and the dad walking around sad, and the brother walking around here crazy as hell. See what I'm talking about? So, sometimes we got to be careful. Oh, no, I did a 6-hour live last night. I'm not looking rough. I don't know how I would look rough. I ain't got no hair. My hair is bald. I'm shaved. I appreciate that comment. I don't know what that meant, but God bless you anyway on the Sunday morning. But it is what it is, and I wanted to encourage you on that. And I hope that get some people enlightened, man. Really, start enlightening people. We got to be real mindful of the words that come out of our mouth. Especially when we spewing out hate, because what happens is once you get those words to exit your mouth, you can't take them back. It's not like writing with a pencil and you can erase what you said. We got to be mindful with our words because the government will trick you on wording. It ain't always about crime. Sometimes it's about the wording and what you said and the context in which you said it because it has a whole different meaning. So you may say one thing one way and be innocent. You say it another way and you in prison for 15, 20 years. We got to be mindful. We talk real reckless about negative stuff, because a lot of us don't have discipline. And I keep telling you, experience is what gets you through the journey. It ain't got nothing to do with age. It ain't got to do with what you look like, your pedigree, your background. You know, God used a donkey, a woman, and he used a dove and a raven and a whole bunch of other animals that weren't human to get his message across. You hear what I'm saying? So, we got to quit thinking that we so big that just because we made in his image, we the only one he can use. Don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. My guy said, everybody plays the fool, and we do. Yep. Everybody plays the fool, and we do play the fool daily by letting the system do us the way they're doing us. So pretty much everybody in these uh, United States are being victimized, all ethnics. When you got a powerful nation that instead of being an example, they rather be a bully. And now you got all these different culture and ethnic backgrounds of people. A lot of them are Islamic, and those people are enraged, and those people who got super cells right here on our soil, and it's going to be a bad situation. You go in the hood, these corner stores and stuff like that, they ran by a lot of these people that the government's picking with. You go in there and say the wrong shit, and don't think they don't have no weapons in there. You be there talking crazy to them all you want to. You go in there and say the wrong thing to one of them Iranians, or one of them Jordanians, one of them Syrians, one of them. You see what I'm talking about? All this conflict been going on since the Bible days. And our own big brother, Brother Trump, is inciting all this goddamn stuff. And we too busy fighting each other instead of holding these politicians and stuff accountable. See, oh, that's cute. The politicians can get away, the preachers can get away, the school teachers, all these people can get away with victimizing the nation. The most powerful nation in the world is being crippled by a non politician who has biased, venomous stuff to say over the airwaves and don't nobody hold them accountable. How you get impeached so many damn times and you commit all these crimes and everybody surrounding you is criminals, sworn to lift up their right hand and swear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And they're out here raping kids, getting caught in sex scandals, stealing our money. We got attorney generals on the federal level hiding paperwork. They just got caught again the other day. Scrubbing systems, trying to get rid of more Epstein files because it's been exposed that our dear brother president is in those files. Britney Spears mentioned in those files 115 times. All these people, Oprah Winfrey, all these people that we look up to, and we talk about they black and they doing all this and they white and they this and that, and we let all this stuff slide. But we'll go on people's YouTube channels. We'll go on people's Facebooks. We go knock on people's doors, try to do harm to them because they're telling you the truth. You know what I mean? I don't hear nobody going to the mayor's office, the governor's office when they're taking all the money out of your damn check. You know what I mean? Don't nobody argue with the government. Don't nobody crash out on the government. You know what I mean? You ain't yelling at your job when they taking all these shoes for cruise discounts out your damn check, and you ain't crashing on your baby daddy who been waiting around being extra nice this week, waiting for the income tax money to come so you can take all your damn money. While you out here struggling on OnlyFans and doing all this clapping and all this, we letting all that stuff go by. But guess what? I'm gonna still give you this information free. You know what I mean? Because what is it going to profit me to deceive you, hoodwink you, and tell you lies and incite you to go out here and crash out? You know what I mean? And no matter how you spin it, people know that what I'll be talking about is the truth. They don't like the method in which I use to give you the truth. My subscribers ain't going up because I'm on here lying, gaslighting folks. I tell people the damn truth, unfiltered truth. What you do with that truth is up to you. I keep telling you about the sifter. I keep telling you about, and I'm a jury man. So when you get in jury and stuff made, you take stuff out so fake, you got what they call CZ, cubic zirconia. Because people they like the look of the shine, right? They don't let the process go in that refiner's fire and ship those impurities and put it back in until they get exactly what they wait for. Why? Because they want to jump on, jump off, the quick blessing, the microwave blessing. They want, they want the they want the chimichanga. They want to be able to open the wrapper, put it on a paper plate, put it in the microwave, 45 seconds, and it's done. You know what I mean? They want the Chef Boyardee, pop the can, put in the bowl, put in the microwave. You know what I mean? They don't want a wholesome meal. They don't want nothing that's going to help the body and do the soul good. They want a quick fix. You see what I mean? People don't get addicted to drugs because it feels so good. They're chasing the same high that they got when they first got addicted. And they can't never chase it. So they be so distracted chasing that same high that they'll never see again. That's the trick. You know what I mean? The devil get us in trouble, but he won't get you out. He'll put you in jail, but never come up with bail. That's the trick. And then if you do get somebody to backdoor you and you go to jail and they make you bail, they ain't making you bail because they're your homie. They making you bail because they want to get you out there so they can kill you because they know you're going to talk when that pressure hits you. Because some ain't built for that. That's why I tell people, stay out of what you're not built for. See, I'm built for this. Yeah, I've been doing this 10 years, 4 years on this context of what I'll be talking about, 4 consecutive years. I done been cussed out, threatened, I done everything in the book. But if I stop every time a door is closed in my face because somebody say, I don't want to hear that, then you go to another audience. You know what I mean? And you got to keep at it. You got to, again, I told you, persistence, and you got to pursue. If you don't pursue, you won't be true. We all moving. You know what I mean? We all moving. But marching in place is moving. I can march in place and I can stand and sway, move back and forth, but I ain't going nowhere. I'm standing still, but I'm moving. So people say, I'm not idle. I'm doing something. Okay, you're doing something, but you're not going nowhere because you're doing the same thing you was doing 20 years ago. We shall overcome. 50 years ago, we shall overcome. And the same stuff that was going on back in 68, 69 is going on now to the highest power. And now we got more advanced people, more opportunity, more educated people that can get you to the next level. They don't want to do that because they're selfish. And they know once they enlighten you, you're not going to follow them no more. See, when you enlighten a dummy and make them smart, the person that made you the dummy, they know you're going to leave them. That's why they don't want you to know the truth. Why you think the preachers always tell you, if they get you with that prosperity ministry. The prosperity ministry is over with. You can hang that up. The Creflo Dollars, Clarence McClendon, all them guys over with. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give you a prime example right out there in Chicago. I'm gonna give you an example. Guy I got a lot of respect for. I don't know a whole bunch about his personal life. Good guy, in my opinion, from what I know about him. He has some controversy himself. He went in there, Baptist boy, helped pull gospel out. They ostracized him, talked about him like a dog. And it's awful funny, when you leave something that don't seem right, them people talk about you. But Larry Trotter, even though he about as small as me now, everybody remember when he was real big, and that's just what it is. And that's fine, if you don't want to hear it, all you got to do is go somewhere else, my brother, and I'm just talking. And again, it's free. And that's just what we was talking about earlier. What people don't understand, they criticize. I've never seen your name on my chat line ever in my life. And the first thing you say, with all due respect, please be quiet. Ain't nobody trying to listen. Obviously, somebody is. If you don't want to listen, be the sifter. Take what's for you, take it. If it's not for you, keep it moving. You know what I mean? And it's people like you that make America the way it is. Just because you don't agree with it, keep your mouth shut. Keep on moving. Somebody enjoys this rambling, this information I'm giving you. And you probably the same type of person that sit around here and celebrate Martin Luther King and all these other civil rights leaders that go out here and be talking crazy to y'all, getting holidays, and then the ones that was really making a difference in the community, them the ones that don't get the recognition. So you probably are one of the, the problems and not the solution. Mr. or Mrs. YMS 12121. You know what I mean? And this is what's wrong with America. You got people, it's like going to school. They teaching you in school what you're supposed to learn, but people are dumb and don't want to learn it. So they go in and act out, beat the teacher up, get mad. They wake up having a bad day, check it out in the world. But you'll listen to a motherfucker that's talking about killing your mama, raping your sisters, raping your daughters, gang violence, y'all all about that. Fentanyl, overdosing. What community are you in and what are you doing in your community? Obviously, you don't keep up with the trends of this platform to find out exactly what we talk about. So because I'm not in here waving guns around, smoking blunts, and I'm not drunk today, then that makes me a rambler. Sounds like you might need to grow up there, sir. And this is why I do what I do, because of ignorant people like you that try to block positive, information that goes out through the algorithm. You probably might want to get you a channel and get you some positive stuff to talk about. I'm just the kind of guy to say what some of you weird ass people are afraid to say. And that's why you got a president in office now doing what the fuck he wants for people like you. He's the one that's rambling. I'm giving you facts. Read your disclaimer before you come in here next time. Maybe that might enlighten you to get, educated in what's going on in our society. If you're from the United States and you see all this fucked up shit going on. So at least somebody's got the courage to get on here and talk about the real issues that's going on in the world today, except instead of talking about Jay-Z and goddamn Kim Kardashian and all these other celebrities that y'all worry about and y'all get hyped up on, but a motherfucker come up here and give you some real information, you want to talk stupid. I hope that helped you today, Mr. YMS 12121. You know what I mean? So I would advise you to, grow up and do what it is that you need to do to get your message across. Because I'm not going to change my message because you don't agree with it. Because again, this is my channel and it's free. So how dare you tell me what and how to say, and I'm giving you the information free. 10 years. 10 years this channel been here. I ain't never asked a person for a damn dime. I can be drunk, whatever, but the information that's coming out of my mouth is positive reinforcement. Obviously, you don't have the intellectual capacity to grasp hold on to. You know what I mean? So yeah, last night I was on for 5.5 hours. Day before that, I was on there for 2 hours, 3 hours. I go on as long as I want to. I'm retired and this is free. And I'm D, being me. Be yourself. You know what I mean? Follow some of these lies. I'm cussing out governors. I'm talking to attorney generals. I'm calling out crooked police. I'm calling out whites, blacks, greens, and yellows. It don't make me no damn difference. Anything that ain't right, that ain't positive, I'm talking about it. You know what I mean? I don't know what your background is and where you came from, but you might need to wake the hell up. You know what I mean? When people start talking truth, people don't want to hear it because society has told us that that's the norm. People don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear bullshit. They want to hear gossip. They want to hear lies. They want to see people beefing. They want to see people shooting. They want to keep all this venom and poison going in our communities. People ODing, kids, 10, 11, 12 years old, getting strung out on drugs. And you talking about rambling? He's a fool. And even the good books say the fool has said in their heart, there is no God. And I'm made in his image, so I am a God, little g. But an OG at the same time. So take this information I'm giving you. If it's not for you, keep it moving. I'm not going to argue with you and debate about you, but I will, get you in perspective because there are people that do follow this channel that enjoy what comes out of my mouth. And whether you like it or not, you got to find a channel that's going to work for you. Okay? So I'll give you an hour of power with this slender tower, and I'm trying to make sure that you all get this good information on this Sunday. It's your golden nugget for today. I appreciate those that hung out with me last night. We had a good time. Those that viewed, those that liked, those that subscribed, I appreciate it. We're trying to get to 300 by April Fools. We got something special in April. We're trying to get together here, and I may not do any more lives today or tomorrow. Tomorrow's my grandmother, my brother's birthday, so I'm going to be kind of a little in solitude and kind of sitting back, chilling a little bit the rest of the day, and tomorrow just reflecting and having some thought. But again, if you read the disclaimer when you come in, the very first thing you'll see is we have real conversations. They're explicit, but it's real. And again, whatever is a real, there's a counterfeit. And I always get hecklers and scragglers that come in and talk crazy. That's because they lazy and they don't have nothing else to do with their time. And once you waste your time, you can't get that time back. You know what I mean? Time's the only currency that you spend that you don't get no change. You know what I mean? So I don't know what your age bracket is. My following is ages 40 to 60. I've been getting some young ones who's been coming in the last couple of weeks, which is good, but they don't understand. And that's why sometimes I take the tone that I do. You know, let these young men have some perspective in their life. Because the fact of the matter is, anybody out here telling these young men nothing is really positive and being consistent in what's coming out their mouth on some of these channels. And the bad thing about it is a lot of the people that's on the channels, they getting paid to put all this negative shit out there. And we jump on that. Instead of watching the news and opening a book, we get caught up in the, status quo. And that's why you won't grow. So, hey, I wish the best to you. Hope that helped you out. I really wanted to just really give you all thanks for what you did yesterday. That was real nice of you. And Caprello, I appreciate you. You always be popping in and looking out for me. I appreciate that. I didn't see my moderator in a couple of days. I try to put these young people to work when they come on this channel. I got a couple of moderators. One of them in high school. I think one of them might even be in middle school. I don't know. But I got people that come in, and I tell people, be careful how you entertain strangers, because they could be angels unaware, and you never know. You could be touched by an angel and not even know it. And you can also cut your blessing off, because you never know who you're dealing with and what a person's background is and what they could offer you. And sometimes we speak too fast, because we don't quite understand what it is, or we come at the tail end of something. But all you got to do is just hear it, and then when the person get off the lie, go back and view the whole thing and get an understanding. With all that getting, get understanding. And that's the problem in society. We don't want to understand. We just let everybody do what they do because that's what we used to dealing with, and that's not acceptable. Hey, take care of yourself and each other, and keep your head up, keep your head above the water, And I pray that everyone has a good day, a productive day, a positive day, and. The content creators out there that's out putting information out, take a day out. Those that's putting the venom out, take a day and take a segment and just do something, dedicate to these young people, because we getting these young folks caught up in the hype and all they're thinking about is impulse and get back, and that's not cool. Emotions sometimes take you to a place that you don't really want to go, but these youth, they don't have no direction, man. They really don't. They're getting all this diluted, regurgitated shit that has been learned, and then we want to get mad at these politicians when they start taking our history and stuff out of school. Go to Florida. Go to Florida. Go to Florida. I'm gonna end with that. Go to Florida. Go to Florida, and you see what that governor did. Y'all let him do that. And then and everybody, some of the people that's in the South. They knock us in the North. Well, I try to understand, we ain't really experienced no slavery or nothing down here, but, we got a whole new generation of educated people now. They're not, trapped in that mentality of 1700. And a lot of these southern states is allowing these politicians to come in there and just rearrange all their history and teach the kids what they want to teach them. And then when they grow up all messed up, what we do, point fingers at that kid because we older folks sit back and had our mouth shut. So then the new generation ain't got no hope. And then the hope we selling them, that's all we selling them is hope. We ain't get them no solutions, no programming that's gonna really go and help them. Ain't nobody speaking up, recalling legislature. We letting all this stuff get crammed down our throat, and then we want to complain when we got these people walking up in the schools, the church, and everything, killing each other. I don't know what to tell you. All I can tell you is hope the information helped you today to find a brighter way, and take care of yourself, each other. Like, share, and subscribe. We need to be at 300 by April 1st. Got a couple weeks to hit the peak. And that's what we're trying to do. Hey, take care. Be persistent and pursue. Those are the 2 words of the day. Persistence and pursuing. Take it for what it's worth. It's worth a lot. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. Don't be hasty. Don't waste good information that can save your life later on. Sometimes we don't. It's like driving a car with an owner's manual. And you see lights and stuff come on your dash and everything like that. It's using a general analogy. And we don't even open the book to find out why it don't work. It could be something simple. You know what I mean? So take care. I appreciate this time. And just wanted to give that to you. And take care of yourself. Appreciate you. I'm Brother D. Fan. That's who the hell I am. And I'm out of here.